Look, don't shoot me, I'm just a messenger. But let me ask you a real question. Have you ever wanted something so bad? I'm talking about you worked for it, you prayed for it, you chased it, and when you finally got it, it didn't feel as good as you thought it would? Meaning that new upgraded job you just got, the money you received, the body you just put together, or even the relationship you always wanted. You thought this would feel you, but somehow, some way, you still feel the same. Well, the Bible talks about this exact feeling in Ecclesiastes chapter 6, and it was written by one of the most richest, wisest, and successful men who ever lived, King Solomon. Now, let's take a moment to talk about this great man, King Solomon. Now, this man had unlimited money, women, power, wisdom, and influence. So if anybody should have been fulfilled, it should have been him. But instead, he says, all this is meaningless. You see, Solomon said, there's a man who has wealth, possession, and honor, but God doesn't give him the power to enjoy it. Let me break that down. This means you can be blessed and still not fulfilled. Now, let me give you a quick illustration for better understanding. Imagine a barber. He finally builds his clientele. He's making amazing money, and he gets his own suite. But on the other hand, now he's stressed, he's burnt out, he has no peace, no joy, and every cut is feeling like pressure instead of passion. And that's what Solomon is saying. He's saying it's possible to have the life you prayed for, but still feel empty. And what's the point of having something that you can't even enjoy? Now, if you take a look at verses 3 to 6, Solomon is clearly saying more doesn't mean better. Now, here Solomon even goes to the extreme because he says a man can have 100 children, live a long life, and even build a legacy. But if there's no satisfaction, it's worse than ever living at all. Now, that might sound harsh, but it's real. And guess what? The truth will set you free, because you got to think, in our society, what we think is more money equals more happiness, more followers equals more value, and more success equals more peace. And that's not it. Because Solomon says something very profound. He says more without meaning is just more emptiness. So what I get from that is that a long life doesn't mean a full life. Real talk, because what I've come to find out by just living is that there are people who are rich but depressed. There are people who are famous but lonely. And there are people who are super successful but they are lost morally. And why is that? Because success can fill your hand, but it cannot fill your heart. Then if you look at verse 7, he says, all man's labor is for his mouth, but his appetite is never satisfied. So in simple terms, what he's saying is that you keep working,